Subscribe to his YouTube channel and press the bell icon so that you never miss any update.
My name is Pallav. I'm from Inc42 team, and we are live from Delhi, which is burning up right now due to peak summers. Thank you all for joining in today in the first edition of Facebook Live AMA series hosted by Inc42. So, first of all, let me give you a brief of why we started this series. As a media company, Inc42 has been very privileged to build strong relationships with some of the smartest and brightest people in the Indian startup ecosystem. And we thought, why not use this special privilege for your benefit? So we thought, let us connect you directly to the best people in the Indian startup community. And that's how this series came into the picture. So without further ado, let me introduce our guest for today. Very honored and delighted to have the superwoman Sairee Chahal with us here. Welcome, Sairee. Sairee is the founder and CEO of Sheroes, a unique community dedicated to help women pursue their professional goals without compromising their personal lives. So Sairee, we have questions coming in. I'll start with the first one, and then you can take over.
Sure.
So Sheroes has grown a lot in the past few years, but going back to the initial phase, like how did this journey start for you, and what inspired you to start Sheroes in the first place? And with that, stage is all yours.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And so I always say sometimes you go look for ideas and sometimes ideas find you. And I think in my case, Sheroes was absolutely an idea I had to do something about. I think it is something that sort of grew up, all through my career. It was a need I saw, but maybe not in such a compelling way in my early years. But as I progressed in my own career, I kind of figured that, the women at work story is still very, very incomplete, and we got to do something about it. And I think the thing that compelled me more was that we haven't built scalable products in this space. A lot of work in this space has been done at a very basic level, and somehow the coolness of product and tech hadn't crept into building products that would really benefit women. So that was my inspiration. And of course, we, fortunately, we are in India. We are, broken in many ways, especially in the gender disparity numbers. And maybe this was the right thing to do. Okay, I have a question from Ayushi Kaul. What is the first step one should consider taking while thinking of starting their own business? I think one should definitely start a business when you have an idea that you really want to do something about. Don't start a business because your friend said so, your mom said so, or it's cool to start one. Start a business because that's who you are and you want to make a difference. Don't start a business to make lots of money, because money is going to come perhaps much later than a job. And start it for the right reason. Solve a problem, build a product, build a solution. Do something that you're passionate about. Do something that you really want to do. And the logistics of doing it is called a business. I have a question from RTV Raman. It says, hey, what advice would you give millennials to find purpose and passion with respect to lives and careers? Oh, wow. I don't think anybody's got it figured out. Life is an iterative process, and unfortunately, we all lose in the end. This game ends with really, nothing to take with you. But I do feel that we are all here to guide each other home, and everything else is logistics. So you had one life, you got to live it well enough for you to be proud of it, for it to be maybe repeatable again. If you're proud of what you're doing and you would do it all over again, maybe that's a good metric for yourself to test. I use it for myself all the time. As an entrepreneur, a mother, your go-to mantra for balancing work-life. So I have a question from the Inc42 team. I want to confess, I'm absolutely anti-work-life balance. I don't think I have any semblance of balance in my life. And I do have a family, I have a daughter, and there are things that demand my attention. But it would be absolutely imperfect to say that I do justice to any or all of them. But at any given point in time, you take your pick. You put something as number one in your life. For a large part of my life, even in the current moment, I think it happens to be my work. And I got to take ownership of that fact. I can't run away from it, and I can't split my attention. So maybe balance is illusionary, so it's okay to sort of, do it your own way, build your own version of disbalance, whichever way works for you. I have a question from Angel, which says, you're an inspiration, thank you. I would like to ask you that everyone has a definition of success. So what is yours? Very philosophical questions from this audience, but I would say, success is when you can, go home, go to bed and fall asleep within 5 minutes. I think that's a good measure. You've had a good day. But I think liking what you do, liking yourself doing it, liking where you are, I think that's success. Even if it's hard, but if it works for you, or even if it's not so, cool or sexy or like rich or famous, it's fine. If it works for you, it's your version of success. And I would totally sort of bat for that any day. I have a question from Prakriti. She says, diversity in the workplace is a thorny issue all over the world. Yes, that's true, and especially in India. Can you name tectonic shifts in the way women in the workforce, tech especially, are treated in the years since Sheroes began? So I have to tell you, some anecdotal stuff here. So when we started Sheroes, we would basically sit outside company offices, and these are large companies. These are all Fortune 500s. They have great brands, great budgets. They're fantastic companies in the way they're run. But when it came to diversity, I think a lot of me and my sales team, we've sat outside their offices waiting for meetings, and we would perhaps get the most junior intern to meet us, because that was the level of, significance of the agenda in the hierarchy. Invariably, this person wouldn't have any budgets, this person wouldn't have any clarity. But as we've grown, we see that now this conversation is owned by CXOs, boardrooms. The stakeholder ownership has changed, and that's really sort of, one big shift I've seen. Second is workplace flexibility. When I started, everybody would tell me, what do you mean by work from home? What do you mean by remote work? And everybody, even today, a large percentage of people think work from home means, doing scammy data entry jobs and, real cheap work, which, nobody feels proud of. But I think today, one of our fastest growing business lines, our biggest ask is remote work. And we feel proud of the fact that that's a big shift, and I see that growing particularly. And I think just careers as a conversation, the number of people who sort of said, what do you mean that you're going to put, a growth network for women, or you're going to talk about women and their careers, or what women want to do. Every thought when you talk of women on the internet, you sell Surf Excel to them, or you sell jewelry to them, you sell, random stuff they can buy off them. But nothing implied anything aspirational or anything that was constructive or growth centric. And I feel it's changing, still a long way, but we got to keep at it. Okay, I have a question from Aparna Mishra, who's also a Sheroes mentor. What will be the 3 most important things to remember when starting your own venture? She also says, good luck for your endeavors. Thank you, Aparna, as always. I think doing your spade work and getting your idea is like really the most important thing. You're lucky if you have an idea you're passionate about, there is a market demand for it, and we can find space for it to seed, and secondly, I think getting the right set of people when you're starting out. Nobody's going to build a great venture all by themselves. So, creating buy-in, finding friends, finding people who believe in it as much as you do. And thirdly, finding customers, go to market. I believe that some of us wait too long to go out and sell, and if you're going to do a venture, you're essentially a salesperson. You're basically going to do two jobs in your life. One is you're going to be selling. You're going to be selling, 60-70% of your time, and you're going to be hiring the rest of your time. So the only two things you will do for the rest of your life, if you decide to start a new venture. But that's also the joy of doing this. Basically, you live, breathe, eat, what you do every single moment. Your friends will start leaving you, and they will say you've turned into this boring creature we can't hang out with anymore. Your social life may go for a toss, but I guess that's what you signed up for. Okay. Who were the first two people you hired for Sheroes outside of your circle, and how did you find them? Actually, most people who are at Sheroes didn't come from my immediate circle, but I did have a few members of my team from my previous organizations join us, so it was a bit of a batch transfer. But I had my colleague Lakshmi join in, and I was looking for somebody to look at our finance and sort of help us get rolling. So I just put a word out, and references. So somebody referred her, so she's definitely not somebody I had known her at all. And my colleague Madhujit joined, who's a coder. He also came through, the tech network. I told somebody in the Paytm tech team who told somebody else, and we found him from Infosys. So, small word, but ask around. That's the easiest way to hire. And I can't tell you how effective that is. We're a team of 75 people, out of which I think every single person has come through a reference, or maybe social sort of shares. But we totally believe in finding people who come from a few degrees away, rather than an open pool. You can do better credential check. You have better sense of who they are, what their value systems are. So that matters. All right, I have a question from Pooja. Keen to know what's the deal with sports shoes. Why do you wear them with every dress? Looks cool to me. Okay, thank you. Well, so here's the thing, most of us, have office jobs, right? We are, in our offices from morning till evening. And if you wear uncomfortable shoes or you wear high heels, whatever little walking you do, you're not going to do even that. To me, I think it's just comfort over anything else. It also makes sure I don't have to think, which shoes and which dress to match every morning. And I can go for a run anytime. I can go for a walk anytime. I, in fact, do take a lot of meetings while walking. I take my calls while walking. And I have to tell you, and now this goes live, I had a huge shoe collection, which I gave away about 3 years ago. So now I only own, 2 pairs of shoes. And it's quite peaceful, I can tell you. People may think you're looking redonkulous, but they notice you. So it's fine, and you're comfortable. Your feet never hurt. You can walk a lot. Yeah, so shoes have a story. I have a question from Divya Agarwal. What were the challenges you faced when starting up your own venture? So, to be honest, Sheroes was not my first venture, so I think a lot of mistakes I made in my previous months. But I think the core challenge was to get the category right. When I said I wanted to do a women-centric company, everybody thought I'm going to maybe sell stuff to them. I'm going to sell clothes to women, or I'm going to maybe do. A lot of people still say, "Are you Naukri for women?" Which is not who we are at all, but that's their interpretation. But getting the category right, putting together the whole tech piece, putting together the whole ecosystem. Some companies are like building a factory. You have to put all the pillars and the shed and the machinery before it looks like it's going to churn out something. So Sheroes is a little bit like that. It needs a lot of groundwork before everything starts rolling in a scalable way. And for a long time, people were wondering, what are we up to? Are we a training company? Are we a media company? Are we a recruitment company? But I guess, luckily I had a lot of support from mentors, from investors, from, our own team. A lot of them came in without sort of, asking too many questions. It was just sheer faith and belief in what we are doing, and, played along, shared the load every single day. So, it got better. Aparna, 3 books you'd recommend as a must read for women today. Oh, wow. So must read could be men or women, right? And everyone has their own versions of, books that they like. But 0 to 1, Peter Thiel is a great read from a startup perspective. I totally enjoyed Steve Jobs' biography, the first one. And I'm a big biography fan. One of the books that I totally sort of swear by is Alex Ferguson, who's the Man U coach, his biography. I find sports biography is a great way to learn. There's also a book that I keep by my bedside. It's called Simple Abundance, and that's actually a book for women, and it's called A Day Book of Comfort and Joy. So when you're sort of tired and want to put your feet up at the end of the day and, you want your cup of tea, I think it's a good book to have, and you can read it every day. Okay, we have Prerna who's saying, I'm looking for a woman entrepreneur and IT geek who can join hands with me in running travel startup, which helps us go on a green holiday. Mine is an all-woman company. Can Sheroes help me out? Absolutely, Prerna. All you need to do is log into Sheroes. There's a thriving community of women, just like you, doing a lot of interesting things. We have a special support group for women entrepreneurs. Go out, put your query out there. You could also make it a job listing and put it out there. You could, write a blog post about your company and share it with the community. Get the word out, and I think, Sheroes is simple to use. It's built for you, so you must make the most of it. If you need any help, on our app, you will find a helpline button. It's called Ask Sheroes. So you could specifically ask us, for an outcome, and we will drive that for you. So go ahead and use that. Suneet Sahu says, I would like to know that you're an inspiration. Okay, thank you. And would like to ask you that how difficult is it to bootstrap our startup? What should we keep in mind? What do you advise as to how to take with priority when you're lacking funds? Absolutely not easy at all, like you say. So I think we all have to bootstrap first. Some people bootstrap for a little time and some for a long time. It's only in very, very rare situations that investor money lands up for concepts, and I think those stories are very, very few, and we should never depend on those. Build customer success. If you have a product that customers want, if you have a solution that users want, then everything else will happen. Funding will happen, and your scale will happen. But build something that is central to, the problem that you're trying to solve. Stay lean. For the first year, we worked out of Paytm office. We saved on office rent. I think this is an industry story. Everybody knows this. Beg, borrow, steal resources. Get help. Get stuff on discounts. Use startup, credits. We've used, a lot of startup discounts for Sheroes as well. And, when you're building a company, that's the only way to do this, So keep at it. It's a little like, boot camp training or commando training. It's not going to be easy. You got to sort of get up every morning at 4 a.m. and run, So, it's a different kind of run. So, so all the best. Let me know if, you need any help. I have a question from Ambika Chopra. He says, hi, Sairee, a big fan. Thank you, Ambika. As a recent grad, what would you recommend? Living on a shoestring budget to pursue your dream, or working a job and pursuing your dream during nights and weekends? Really depends on your energy levels, Ambika, and how soon you want that dream to qualify. I ended up doing my first startup very early on in my life, and to me that was the best decision ever, because I learned a lot of things that my peers would have picked up much later in life, very, very early on. if you've got an idea you dream about, then why not give it a really good shot, and you can always find a job, you can always sort of go out. But if you don't really have a big dream, big idea, you're still working on it, then go out, get a job, figure out how you want to sort of, shape it up. But have an idea first. I think that's really, really important. Sakshi says, love Sheroes for being a category builder. Thank you, Sakshi. And how do you manage your time and get things done? And how do you unwind? Okay, so I get a lot of help to begin with. And I also realize I have a lot of limitations. I'm fairly disorganized, inefficient most days. So my management is by a process of elimination and just doing what really needs to be done, needs to sort of, get out of the way today. And I don't worry too much. I give it to, my best shot. And I enjoy while I'm at it, So when I'm at work, it doesn't feel like work to me. In fact, if I had my way, I would live in office, bring my toothbrush and my yoga mat here. But they don't allow that here yet. So, and how do I unwind? Well, I enjoy a good drink with my friends. I enjoy conversations. I read. I play with my dog. Sometimes I take my daughter out. Usual stuff, I love yoga. That's my daily health capsule. I never miss it, and if I had my way, I would teach yoga all day. So, yeah. I have a question from Pooja. How could one go about addressing sexism in the workplace? And even more important, how does one identify what constitutes sexism? Great question, Pooja, because I think what constitutes sexism is something that, a lot of people are not even aware of. And, as workplaces get more diverse, different kind of people come into the workplace, it's a critical issue. To me, calling out sexism is one way of addressing it. If you notice something, then it needs to be sort of recognized and addressed and not brushed under the carpet. From a company perspective, getting people sensitized to gender diversity, to diverse people in the workplace, to making space for everyone is really critical. In fact, some of you know this, some of you don't, but Sheroes actually offers a independent reporting and a grievance handling helpline to companies to manage issues of workplace sexism, abuse, harassment, because a lot of people are not sure, men and women alike, because a lot of workplaces are still grappling with, becoming diverse, getting more women in the workplace, breaking the bro culture, and so on and so forth. So very early days of, I think, workplaces in India becoming diverse, inclusive, and fair. But I think everybody needs to just own it a little bit. You don't have to be an expert, you don't have to be a lawyer. But if you sense it, if you feel it, if you know it, then you call it out, you address it. I have a question which says, I'm an American citizen and I was thinking about starting up my own venture in India. My family is based out of Delhi and I'm still in the ideation phase. Can you brief me about some of the different avenues I'll have to choose in my entrepreneurial journey and some of the problems as an international might face? Well, I think if you're coming from America, then the good thing about US is a mature market. It's also a more developed market in many ways. Systems work, you can set up a company in one day, banking works differently. So those are some tactical challenges. But at the same time, finding your idea is really important. And ideally, that's the homework you should do and not rely on just about anyone. There are some growth needs, the market needs great products. We have a lot of problems that need to be solved. So if you can build solutions where, there are gaps, and not do, just another food tech startup or not just do, just another e-commerce startup, do something that either you're very good at or something that the market needs, something that will create value. A lot of choice of business is, am I going to extract value or am I going to add value? And once you decide that, it becomes simpler to go forward. Kudos to you and your team. Thank you, Ruchi, and keep smiling. Yes, thank you. And how can I be part of your wonderful team? Well, write into us, tweet to us, come meet us, or set up a call. Happy to chat. I spend most of my Saturdays talking to people who want to be part of Team Sheroes or who are part of a community. So send me a mail at sairee@sheroes.in and we'll set up a call. Aarti has a question. What kind of ratio do women in tech really face in India? Women in tech is a really tiny community in India. And when I say tech, if I just take product companies, it gets even smaller. I think that number is less than 10% of the entire workforce. So yeah, I've got a long way to go there. Rohit Yadav says, 2 questions, hustling, mentoring advice for budding entrepreneurs, and would like to know your birth date to wish you. Okay, so well, for advice, I think you got to keep at it and you got to, do the right things. Try making less mistakes, learn from mistakes of others, read up, stay connected, but don't spend too much time worrying about what everybody says about success, about business models. You got to stay grounded and keep doing stuff. Over execute everybody else. Well, for my birth date, I can tell you the date, but not the year. That would be giving away too much. You can wish me on 28th of July. What's your growth strategy? How many users do you currently have and how many do you plan to acquire? Hey Paul, we don't call them users. I hate that term, to be very honest. I like the word members better because that's a community. We're not really selling to them, but we're about 1.2 million women who are members of Sheroes, and in about 5 years, we want to be 100 million women platform. So there we are. Okay, we have time for 2 more questions. Akshay says, when is Shiro Summit coming back? Well, Shiro Summit is back in July. The first one is in Delhi on 11th of July. And then we have one every week in Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Calcutta, Chennai. So see you there. All right, so I think we've kind of covered everything. Somebody says, I wish to work with you. Please send me an email and we'll set up time. All right, I think we're kind of done. Thank you so much.
So with that, we come to an end of this first session, and I hope you all enjoyed. And if you have more questions for Sairee, you can tweet to her. Her Twitter handle is @Sairee, SAIREE. We have many more AMAs coming up in near future, so please stay connected with Inc42 on our Facebook page, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, guys.